Hello, and thank you so much for joining us today. I see we've already got quite a few viewers coming in, which is absolutely fantastic. This is our live Q&A session with the MSc Agricultural Professional Practice, and it's part of our winter webinar series where we take questions that we have submitted to us from potential applicants to the staff and students of our programme. So today we have obviously APP, and before I introduce the panel, I'll just introduce myself. My name's Gavin. I work in the student recruitment and marketing team here at SRUC. I've got the really nice, easy job today where I just get to take the questions that you guys have submitted over the past wee while and any of the questions that you're submitting while you're watching this and put them to Tiffany and Robin. So I'll start with Robin, if you'd just like to introduce yourself.
Hi, so I'm Dr. Robin Walker, and I'm the Programme Lead for the Agricultural Professional Practice postgraduate course.
So Robin's in charge of the programme, and Tiffany.
Hi, I'm Tiffany. I'm currently a third year APP student, and the rest of the time I work for SAC Consulting.
Superb. So yeah, as you can see, we've got a member of staff from the teaching side of things, and we've got a current student as well. So both sides of the circle are kind of covered today. So hopefully all your questions that you've been putting to us will be covered nice and easily. I mean, without any further ado, I think we should just get on to questions. I'm sure there's other things I should say, but if anyone who is watching this live on YouTube, you can comment in the comment section any questions, and then we can put those to our panel live. But to kick things off, start off with a nice, easy one just to set the scene. Robin will come to you first. So this is a part-time postgrad, and it's delivered online. How flexible is that, and how many hours a week can a student really expect to commit to that?
Yeah, so it's quite a flexible program. So we've got 3 award levels. So we potentially, there's a first year was a postgraduate certificate, which is, as I say, would take place in year 1. And assuming you did well enough in that in terms of grades, you've got the opportunity to move through to postgraduate diploma, which you could do in 2 years. And then beyond that, there's the master's, which takes 3 years, and Tiffany's one of those students at the moment. So there's some flexibility there in terms of what you can end up with as your award. And although the postgraduate diploma theoretically would take 2 years, you've actually got up to 4 years to complete that award. So there's a little bit of flexibility. You know, if things, there's various aspects of your life that mean you just need to put it on hold for a little bit. There's a little bit of flexibility there. And then again, in terms of the masters, although theoretically you can do it in 3 years, there's an opportunity to take that through to a full 6 years if needed. So again, there's opportunities to kind of dip in and dip out at key times just for various reasons, whether it's, financial, family, whatever. There's a whole host of different things that could get in the way there. So yeah, so that's basically it. In terms of recommended hours, we're looking probably in the order of 12 to 15 hours a week. Some weeks will be a bit more than that, depending, if you've got assessments or things coming up. But averaged out, we're looking at somewhere in the order of 12 to 15 hours a week of study.
Perfect. So it's still very much possible for students to kind of do their normal life, everyday life, any work that they've got, any other commitments, and fit in study as well. So I think that's really quite reassuring for a lot of people that's been a big question that we've had coming in recently. And it does seem that quite a lot of people are quite interested in this kind of area. So why do you think it has become quite a popular area of late, Robin?
Well, there's a lot of interest in agriculture. There's a load of global issues that are coming up as well. How food can be produced sustainably, how food production systems can interact positively with other factors. So you've got things like climate resilience and carbon budgets and a whole range of different things coming into everyday life, not just agriculture. But obviously, wanting to do is help that. You've also got things like protecting biodiversity. So all of these are coming into the mix when it comes to agriculture. And of course, linked to all of that, you've got policy. So policy is a big thing that's there. So what you need is a workforce that can take on these challenges in a sustainable way. And one of the things we try and do with students is make sure that you can source relevant information and then critically analyse that information in terms of developing a strategy that they can use in the agribusiness, so can moving forward within those kind of restrictions, those parameters that we've kind of spoken about. Sometimes our students are producers, not all of them. There's a number from other areas. So it may be that somebody's taken on the role of a family farm that they hadn't necessarily been involved in, particularly in the past. Sometimes they may work for a feed or agronomy company. We have other students who are ex-military and have moved from the military and have started looking at alternatives, and maybe again they've got a family farm that they're going to go back to and run. We've got lecturers from other land-based colleges. We've got people from other unrelated backgrounds as well. So they may be from a business background, but don't necessarily have that agricultural experience. And they want to be able to have those discussions with a farm manager, for example, so they can kind of talk the same language essentially. So it's really quite useful for that side of things. A number of students that are on the course have hit a glass ceiling as well in terms of the current employment. So they found that without a postgraduate qualification, they're kind of hitting the buffers. They can't get higher up the career ladder that they would really like. So we've got some students who have done this, and it's opened up doors for them hugely. So there's a whole range of different things there, but they're the type of things that we have.
Yeah, so quite a diverse group and from lots of different backgrounds and experiences. So that's good to know, that not everyone coming into this program is already like all guns blazing in their mind and knowing what it is. We've got some kind of people who are slightly newer to it than others, people who've maybe had more work experience than others as well. So Tiffany, what's your kind of background? What led you to come into APP?
So my background, I worked on a farm, and then I did a bachelor's degree, and then I started working for SRUC Consulting. And with the work that I was doing, I think the more knowledge that you can have when you're working as a consultant, the better. And that's essentially what led me to doing this course, was just to expand my knowledge further and learn more so that I can go and have the conversations with people like you were suggesting.
Yeah, fantastic. So yeah, good that you've kind of had that progression there, which is pretty fantastic. So being a kind of a virtual course, how does that kind of element work to this? Stephanie, I'll come to you quickly. When was the first time you actually got to meet other students in this program?
So I think I started in an unusual year because I started during COVID. So usually they have twice a year you meet up with the other students, once in September and once in February. But because I was a COVID student, we didn't get to meet up, so everything was done virtually. But we did get to meet up March this year, and it was absolutely fantastic to actually meet the other people in the course. I think that's got to be the best bit, and I think ever since then we've been asking Robin that if we can have more meetups, because it's so valuable being able to meet up with the other students and you get their perspective on things, and it's great to meet others.
Was it in Aberdeen that you got to meet up?
Yep, we went to Aberdeen, which was my first time up at Gravestone at the campus there, which it was great. And they had put on a whole load of visits to local farms, and we got to see some of the trials as well. And then in the evenings, we were able to have a sociable with everybody else who was there, which was lovely as well. And I think being in Aberdeen, it doesn't limit you, because one of the people in my course, she flew over because she's a foreign student. So it's a great way to meet people and to learn more.
Yeah, I think that is the really good bit about the kind of study weekends in Gravestone and Aberdeen, and the fact that it's quite near the airport as well. So no matter where you are, it's so easy just to fly in or get a train up and stuff like that as well. So I was fortunate enough to go up this year and just see how things went, and it was just an absolutely incredible weekend. And yeah, as you say, it's going to all the farms and meeting all the professionals. It was just brilliant, and the barbecue as well was quite good fun, and the kind of social. So that was a good part of it as well. And I think that's equally as important, especially for a course that is predominantly online. It's good to kind of have that chance to meet up with each other, which is pretty crucial. Now, Robin, back to you. If I could pose a question, why choose SRUC? Why is the Scotland's Rural College the place to go to for doing this?
Well, I mean, SRUC, or SAC as it used to be called, has decades of agriculture and agribusiness educational provision. So there's a long-standing history there. We've got many years experience in terms of distance learning programs as well. So there's a lot of experience there in how to kind of do this type of teaching. Also, we've got decades of involvement in agriculture and rural business research, and also the Associated Advisory Service, and Tiffany happens to work for that part of the business. So there's a lot of things going on there. So if you look at all those three things coming together, it really gives an opportunity for the course to be really top notch because of all these kind of different linkages going on. And we know from student feedback that the course has been transformational. I kind of mentioned this slightly earlier on, but it has helped them break through this kind of glass ceiling as well. So it definitely can work in terms of career progression. So yeah, there's a number of really good positives there in terms of why you should study at SRUC.
Yeah, good point. And you mentioned about career progression. So some people might be maybe wanting to progress to maybe a slightly higher paid job, and they might be trying to weigh up the benefits of maybe investing in themselves to do this program. So cost-wise, Robin, how plain and simple, how much is it to complete this course?
Yeah, well, it kind of depends where you're located. But if you're Scottish, I think the fees for the next intake, which will be September 2023, it's £3,250 per year for the first and second year, and the third year is slightly cheaper. It's £2,500. If you're in RUK, so I think that includes Ireland, that's slightly higher, so it's about £3,500 per year, and then well, actually, it's £2,500 again for the third year as well. So, and then if you're an international student, you're looking at around £7,000 per year for the first 2 years, and then in that final year, that third year, it's £4,000. And there is scope actually to do individual modules as well if you didn't want to go down the whole route, just to kind of dip your toe in almost, just to get a feel for the kind of the process and see whether you actually like learning through this approach. So you're looking at around £800 if you're from Scotland. If you're in RUK, which includes Ireland as well, in this instance, it's £900 per module. And if you're an international student, which includes Europe now, you're looking at £1,800 per module. So not many people actually do the individual modules, but occasionally we get students that do that. Most would do either the full first year, full second year, or the third year.
Okay. That's good to know. What I'll do is I'll put a wee ticker tape up with the information of the website of where to go and find all that information on the fees as well, just so if people want to go and have a wee search for that. Talking about modules there, Tiffany, was there one area of the APP that you really found connected with you, the one that you enjoyed the most?
I think the course that I found the most interesting, I really, really enjoyed topical issues. So for topical issues, it was a joint module between the APP students and the countryside and wildlife management students. And in it, you had to do a group project with others from the course. So you just put into the groups at random, and you then had to write a report on a topical issue. So our group, we ended up writing, it was about, can we reduce pesticides without impacting on yield on crops? But it was really interesting working with people from a completely different course, from completely different backgrounds, because then we all had very different perspectives on it. And then it was a great way to learn from each other and really build on your knowledge without just being stuck thinking what you think. You really had to consider what everyone else thought, because there was one paper at the end of it which you all contributed to.
Yeah, excellent. So that's, I mean, obviously that was your favourite. As Robin said, you can just do individual courses. It's not a push to just do that one only. We would love you to come and study them all, because they are all pretty fantastic too. The next question that's come in beforehand, or in fact, it's another one just wanting to find out more about what students go on to do. So maybe Tiffany, you'd maybe be best way to answer that. So what are your plans to do after finishing up this year?
I might not be the best person to ask on this one because I'm still doing it. At the minute, my head is very much thinking, just get my dissertation done and then we can think about it. But you were saying about a glass ceiling before and career progression, and I definitely don't want to have that glass ceiling, and I want to be able to keep going on and keep doing more. But as what yet, we'll wait and see.
That's good. That's good. At least you've got your options are open and you're focused on what the task at hand. So that's a very, very good response. I mean, it would be if you had like screeds of a plan, it would have been pretty terrifying. But no, that's good. And you've been set up well for whatever you want to do next. That's reassuring again. Robin, back to you. If I could maybe, one of the questions came through about asking about graduation. Obviously, being an online course, being based in the trips to Aberdeen, do they get a physical graduation at all? Is there anything, or is it on a Zoom call or something like that?
Yeah, well, during the pandemic, it was a Zoom call type thing, but I think it was I can't remember if it was July or August, but certainly late summer, the graduation ceremonies take place at Bute Hall in Glasgow University because the course is registered through Glasgow University. So this event, as I say, takes place in late summer, and it's a really good opportunity to celebrate the hard work done by all the students and achievement. And it's a really good kind of final, hurrah sort of thing to all the people as they kind of move on to, well, onwards and upwards, obviously. But it's a really good thing, and it's a really impressive building as well. So it gets all the bells and whistles linked with that. So yeah, it's a great event.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity because I think the Bute Hall it's quite Hogwartsy. It's got that kind of feel to it as well. So yeah, you might have done most of your program online and visited Aberdeen for a few times in a year, but yeah, getting to finish up there, as you say, it's got that sense of occasion, that sense of, and it's normally quite good for like people's friends and families come along and support, and it's nice just to see people's journeys from kind of that they've had. So yeah, that's definitely a good place to kind of finish that up. Probably a more I mean, that sounds like a fantastic party, but before we get to that party, the students are going to have to do a fair bit of course. So Robin, I wonder if you could maybe just give us a quick brief run through of a little flavour of what kind of content is in the course.
Yeah, so there's 2 semesters, and in your first year, so your PG Cert year, you would have 2 core modules in the first semester, which is September through to January. And then in the second semester, you would have 1 core module and then an elective. And the elective could be a range of different things. So it could be linked to things like animal feed technology. We've also got modules that are linked to BASIS, so people will go and do their BASIS course, and then we have a module that's linked off the back of that in terms of the information. Similarly, FACS, which is basically your requirement to be able to give fertilizer advice. So again, there's another module called that linked to that called nutrient management. Innovation and entrepreneurship, integrated agricultural management, and in terms of some of these other electives as well, Tiffany had mentioned that you can link into some of the other courses as well. So there's an organic farming master's course. So there's modules in there which can be relevant. So there's 3 electives where you have the opportunity to do that, and likewise the wildlife and conservation management. So there's one there on farming, forestry and the environment. So there's a few people will do some of the modules that aren't specific to APP. So going back to the second year, so in your second year, you have 1 core module and an elective. So the core module in the first semester is the topical issues, which Tiffany enjoyed so much. So that's the first part of the second year. And in the second semester, you've got a module called Project Management and Analysis for Agricultural Professionals. So that's basically looking at a business, looking at assessing the kind of all the details that you've got there, and it's linked to analysis of that business as well. And that in some ways is a starting point if you were thinking about doing the masters in the third year, because that's where some of the kind of the figures and analysis of those figures and a little bit of statistics come into play. So it's almost a mini training course for going on to the third year.
Cool. So yeah, an enormous amount of ground, and yeah, having that kind of, I think the business connection is so pertinent to people right now. It's not always just learning for the sake of it. It's learning to then be able to put it to their professional careers and link that up. So yeah, it's so crucial.
I was going to say, Gavin, one of the things, a lot of the assessments are actually geared towards either your own business if if you're running your own business already, or your employer. So a lot of the assessments are actually tied into, if you can utilize those as a case study for a particular assessment within that, we try and make it a bit more real, and there's an opportunity to do that. So you're not only working, you can kill two birds, you can help your employer by getting, helping them find something useful about the business and move that forward. But also it helps towards your assessment and your award as well.
That's quite good to know. So it's not as if they need to find extra work; they can sometimes maybe just tie it into what they're already doing. Yeah,
encouraged in many ways, actually.
Cool, excellent. Yeah, I'm sure the employers quite like that as well. They need to be doing things well if they're going to be graded on it. So yeah, that's good to know. Tiffany, back to you. We've got another question just about the challenges of studying virtually and studying online. What are the main challenges that maybe you found, and if you have overcome them, how did you overcome them?
I think the main challenge is definitely time. It is trying to fit it in, because I work full time, and a lot of people who are on the course do work full time. So it is being able to manage your time to be able to fit everything in. I think at the beginning, Robin had said 12 to 15 hours a week. When I've done it, I think some weeks you'll do a lot more than that. And then you've got a really busy week because you've got something on at work that's a big thing that you're needing to finish, or I went and sat my FACS exam, and that took a lot of my time because I had to sit that. So it is doing some of these other things. You suddenly find they take priority for a week, but then the following week you can easily go and add in some extra time. So I think it's definitely planning what you've got on, when it is, and then making sure that you've got the time to do your coursework. I think with the coursework, they are very good at trying to have the deadlines not all on the same day, so you do have a bit of time and spread them out a little bit. And I think definitely if you start your coursework very early, the earlier you start it, the easier it is to get it done. I definitely wouldn't recommend trying to do it last minute, because you're never going to get quite as much out of it. And you've just ended up rushing it, and you can do a better job the more time you give to something. But I clearly am managing to do it a lot better now. Now that I'm doing my dissertation, I'm still here, and I'm still managing to fit everything in, which is the main thing.
Good. And so do you think you've kind of learned from the process of it to manage your time well?
Yeah, you definitely learn to. I feel like in the first term, like, you very quickly realise that in a way it's sink or swim. You learn to put the time aside to do it. You have committed to doing it. You're clearly doing it because you want to do it, so you might as well put in the time and the effort to do it.
It's like anything, really, isn't it? Is that if you want to get the qualification at the end, you need to put the graft in, and yeah, it's good words of wisdom for those who are maybe kind of a bit worried about the online kind of world of learning. Now I see we've actually got another question coming in through YouTube from Jake. Robin, if I could put this to you, so is there any link to production on the course, like livestock or otherwise, or is it mainly policy and strategy based?
It's you're not going to learn how to produce a cow specifically. It's much more down the strategy type angle. But as I said before, if you had a lot of the assessments from various modules are actually linked to how you maybe use that. So if you've got an issue in terms of your production at home or your work, you can maybe use that in some of the modules as a case study and use that to try and kind of help improve things. But you won't necessarily learn how to carve a cow or something like that. Well, you won't actually. I mean, there are other there's an animal feed technology module, which it was one of the electives. And there's also animal health and veterinary medicine is another elective module which will run depending on the number of students on a that are going for that. So there's a couple that are specifically linked to livestock, but the others are, I wouldn't say they're general, but you can use your background if that's if you're particularly into the livestock side of things, you can use those as examples and work that into the not all the assessments, but a number of them depending on what it is that you're doing.
Cool. Belter of an answer to a belter of a question. So thanks very much, Jake, for asking that. Robin, maybe probably final question, unless there's any other ones coming through from YouTube. Just about applying to the programme, what is the kind of timeline? What is the kind of times a year that you would expect applications to come in, and what are the kind of deadlines we're looking at here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can apply now for next September if you wanted to, but a lot of students would tend to start applying probably from Easter onwards. So we're really keen if people were wanting to do the course to apply by sort of the middle of the summer at the latest. But you know, that's the kind of, most students would tend to apply probably from May through to late July, something like that, and a few a little bit later than that. But if you go too close to the start, it can get a bit tricky in terms of making sure everything's all set up. But you know, we do our best to accommodate late entries. But yeah, if you can get signed up by the summer, that would be fantastic, and we'd love to see you.
Perfect. That's really good. I think we've absolutely rattled through a few questions here, and yeah, as Robin said, we would absolutely love to see some applications coming in, and obviously the deadlines that Robin's kind of let you know of there are there to kind of, we want to see those applications in by certain times. If you do have any questions beyond this, obviously you might be watching this at a later date as well. The email address that you can ask your question to is going around the bottom of the screen just now. And if you do have any questions, well, if you're invited to ask questions, if you'd signed up for this, you've got my email as well, so you can email me directly. But the postgraduate SRUC.ac.uk will send it on to the kind of generic email box that either myself or someone in the team will be able to help you with. So that's always there. Other ways of getting in touch with us at SRUC: follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Instagram, all the socials that you kind of use. Make sure you just kind of follow us. We've got lots of really good content going out across the board. So it's always good to kind of get a feel for what's happening at the institution. So it's always nice to kind of keep that going. Lots of interesting stuff happening there. But that's pretty much us, I believe. So I just want to say thank you to Tiffany and to Robin for coming along and giving such excellent answers to the questions, the excellent questions that have been submitted to us over the past few weeks, and even on this evening as well. It's been really good to kind of hear your insights and the student side of things and the teaching side of things as well. So hopefully this has been very useful to anyone who's watching this and anyone who's considering applying for the programme as well. But that is us pretty much all done up now. So I think it's nothing left to do other than say thank you so much for watching and goodbye now. So cheers and thanks very much.